Hello and welcome back. So we are talking about today, we're continuing our discussion and doing example 4. And this is going to be a decay model. And so if you remember from the previous video, decay is equal to the amount that you're solving for. The future amount is equal to A, your initial amount, times 1 minus your rate of decay, all raised to the number of years you're going out. So in this problem, it's very much like a depreciation model that you would use in accounting, or it could simply be you want to sell your car. You know, you bought this car a year ago, you decided it's not exactly what you want, and so you want to know about how much is the car worth, so you'll know how much to sell it for. So your car initially cost $24,000. So to calculate how much your car is worth in 1 year, we're going 1 year in the future, and we have 24,000, which was our initial amount that we paid for the car, times 1 minus that 20%. But remember, we have to convert that to a decimal. So 20% to convert it to a decimal is just like saying 20 over 100. Move that decimal to the right 1, 2. So 0.20 is equal to 20%. So 1 minus 0.2, and then we're just going 1 year into the future. So that's our t, is that 1. So this is going to be a of 1, going 1 year in the future, 24,000 times 0.8 raised to the 1. So let's see, how much is our car worth 1 year into the future? 24, we're going to clear all this out. Wow, there's a lot of stuff in there. So we'll go clear. 24,000 times 0.8, and it's raised to the 1, so we don't have to do anything. So it tells us that in 1 year, our car will be worth $19,200. So we should be able to sell our car for somewhere around that. Of course, there are calculators online. Kelley Blue Book is one of them that you can calculate specifics about your car, but this is just a rough estimate as to how much your car was worth given the 20% decay rate. Now, I'm curious, we talked about Bernice in my last video, which is my car, and I've had Bernice. I bought her in 2012, and this is 2020, so that means I've had Bernice 8 years. If Bernice costs $24,000, how much is she worth now? So 24,000 times 0.8, given this decay model, 0.8 raised to the 8. Ooh, this might be scary. So we have 24,000 times, open parentheses once again. Remember to use your parentheses because that way you're making sure the calculator knows exactly what you're trying to calculate. 0.8 raised to the 8, arrow over to get out of that exponent, close parentheses. Why? Bernice, according to this model, is only worth $4,026. Why, right? But she's worth a whole lot more in my heart. So there you go. I mean, that is a decay model, and there's all kinds of uses for this decay model. Now, as promised, I do want to do one real world scenario that, even you as a high school student might be interested in, and it is going back to the growth model. One of the things that I looked at recently for my son was bank accounts and bank rates. And there is a great website that I do highly recommend, which is bankrate.com. And so you can tell it on bankrate.com, I'm looking for an online savings account as of right now, April 2020. And you can tell it how much you want to deposit. You know, sometimes when you deposit large amounts like 25,000, then there are better rates available for you. But I don't know about you, but Miss Harrison don't have that laying around. And if I don't have that laying around, I don't think you got that laying around. So let's start small, $100, right? So if we want to store away $100 and see what kind of rate we can earn on it. And so here we have all of our options. We have Marcus, which is a Goldman Sachs. We have Capital One. A lot of people know about Capital One. Community Direct, VO Bank, CIT Bank. So here's all these different banks that we could invest our money into. Capital One is a pretty popular bank, so we'll go with Capital One. And let's just look. Say we did deposit that $100 and we left it in the bank. Very big key to investing. Whatever you're investing, leave it alone. Do not take it out unless it's an emergency. And make sure it's a true emergency. If you see some new Air Jordans or Michael Kors purse that you just absolutely have to have, right? That's not an emergency. You need to learn how to delay gratification and save for those specific items. But when you tuck savings away, leave it alone. One of the things for investing is that it's a long-term process. You're not going to get rich quick, no matter how many schemes there are available for all these other crazy things. When things sound too good to be true, they're typically too good to be true. So let's just look at squirreling away our $100. So we're going to use our growth formula. A of t is equal to the initial amount times 1 plus r raised to the t. So let's look at squirreling away our $100, which is our initial amount, at this rate that Capital One showed us. So the rate was 1.5%. And say we're just going to invest it for 10 years. How much would it grow? So we've got A of 10 is equal to 100 times 1 point, convert this to a decimal, 1.512, move it over 2. You got 0.012 right there. 0.015 raised to the 10. Let's see, how much does our $100 grow? So 100 times, open parentheses, 1.015 raised to the 10, close parentheses. Oops. Raised to the 10, arrow over, close parentheses. So in 10 years, our $100 will be $116.05. So we've gained essentially $16.05 on this investment. Now, I know you guys well enough to say, I can hear you say, well, that's not a whole lot of money. This is a very simple example. Actually, in the real world, your money is compounded. That's a fancy word that we use for how many times your interest is paid to you, which is what this rate is, how many times your money grows. And so in the real world, your money is going to grow a lot faster than just every year. You're actually going to be earning or your interest is going to be paid to you based upon your balance at a monthly or weekly day or time period. So this is very simple. Don't get discouraged. Don't leave this video saying, oh, this just stinks, it's no use, blah blah blah. Just know that this is a very simple example, and we'll learn more about that next week. So until then, guys, if you have any questions, please let me know. Otherwise, I look forward to seeing you next week. Have a great weekend. Bye, guys.